Everyone is talking about progressive overload when it comes to training calisthenics, especially skills. But I have a feeling that most people generally don't understand the whole concept, especially when we are talking about calisthenics. And this might be the reason that you are actually stuck. We have all heard the terms, just add more reps, bro. Just do more sets, bro. You need to make the exercise harder over time. And you are basically doing it. Because your tuck planche hold went from a 10-second hold to a 20-second hold. Or let's say that your straddle planche went from a 5-second hold to a 8-second hold. And in theory you are getting stronger. But can you do the full planche? You still can't hold it. So here is the thing that is probably going on. Most people think that progressive overload means keep adding more volume to your current progression until you're strong enough for the next progression. For the love of God, we have all seen this. I don't need to showcase this to fucking anyone because we all know what this is. So a lot of people actually think, you might even think that, let's say when you are at this progression step, just do this progression step for about 30 seconds and then magically you can advance to this progression. But as most of the already experienced guys know, that is not how it happens. So here is exactly how I would explain progressive overload when it comes to training calisthenics skills. If you want to get better at a position, you need to spend the time in the position itself, not just getting stronger in the easier progression. Let's dive in, because think about it. Your nervous system, your muscles even, do not care if you can hold an advanced tuck for 60 seconds. Because that thing is completely different compared to a straddle planche, let's say. So real progressive overload for skills means that you are getting closer to the skill that you are actually chasing, not by grinding away with it. Let me show you what this looks like. This is how most people think. Week 1, you do a tuck planche hold, let's say for 3 sets for 15 seconds. 4 weeks later, since you are stronger, you're now thinking that you're gonna do 3 sets of a 30-second hold. And week 8, 2 months down the line, you are probably thinking that you need to hold the tuck planche for 45 seconds. That's an extra 15 seconds of hold time. And what are the results if you think of it like that? You are probably gonna get very good and efficient in holding the tuck planche. But yet you can't even extend the legs this much. But here is how I would view it with my 12 years of training experience. Week 1, let's say, you're doing 5 sets of a 10-second hold of a tuck planche. Plus, you are already doing advanced tuck attempts for some sets and reps. 1 month later, or 4 weeks to be precise, you are already doing some advanced tuck holds with a light band. By week 8, you can already do some sets of the advanced tuck holds. Do you see the difference? One approach keeps you constantly at the safe zone, while the other approach forces your nervous system to adapt to that new stimuli. Or to put it simply, which forces you to learn the actual positions that you are currently chasing. Now don't get it twisted. This approach applies to whenever you're holding your first tuck planche, your first advanced tuck planche, your straddle planche, your full planche. It honestly doesn't matter. Because the principle is the same throughout each progression. For an example, if you are stuck at a tuck planche and you want to advance into the advanced tuck planche, you need to stop grinding for longer durations of holds and instead already start doing some assisted work with the movement itself, meaning, in this case, the advanced tuck planche. Even if it is just 5 seconds with a rubber band, train the position that you want. If you are, let's say, trying to get from a straddle planche into a full planche, which is basically the same thing, this can be applied even to a front lever or a handstand, don't just keep adding time to the straddle planche. You should already start training for the full planche with a lot of assistance. With negatives, with the help of a rubber band, it honestly doesn't matter. Whatever basically it takes to make your body be in the required position itself. Basically, like, we all know this, okay? But I wanted to make this video to highlight how important this actually is, because I'm seeing so many people struggle with it. I was struggling with the same thing back when I was training in 2016. The mistake is thinking, I need to master this level before I can go on to the next one. No. Your nervous system, your muscles, your whole fucking body needs to learn the next position. And your body is only going to learn what you are practicing. You basically need to stop this mentality of, I need to get strong before I can go to the next progression step. Because frankly, that is bullshit. Start training towards the next position when you are currently comfortable in the current one. That ranges from person to person. And to ballpark this estimated level that you are feeling comfortable at, I would say anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds. You don't need to do any variation or progression step for longer than 20 seconds. What the fuck is the point of that? I'm gonna jump into a tucked front lever and do 20 to 30 seconds hold. That is like useless. Okay. Now, if you watched my previous video on the accessory work, you might be thinking, wait, didn't you say that the accessory work is like so important when it comes to skill training and to build a strength foundation? Yes, and that is not a contradiction. What it is two different pieces of the puzzle. Accessory work is where the progressive overload actually works as it is intended in a sense. Because you are fundamentally trying to get your muscles stronger with the right exercises, which in turn will make the movement that you're chasing, let's say a full planche, much easier because the underlying muscles have the power output. So with that logic, you cannot hold a planche if your underlying muscles that are required to hold the planche are weak. The accessory exercises are hella good to get the strength in that muscle. And the thing is, if you have never practiced the move itself, you are never going to have it. An easy way to put it, think of it like this. The accessory work is like the engine in a car. The skill-specific training teaches you how to drive. You need both. You need the engine, which is the brute muscle force, and the ability to drive a car. And there is a huge influx of people who are either doing only the accessory work, hoping that it will lead them into a planche, or on the other side, there are only people who are doing just the temps and just the skills themselves, ripping out the holds and thinking that they are optimized to do the full thing. But you need to have both. Sure, I'm not neglecting that there aren't people who can do one thing or the other, okay? Because we have a good example of Larry Wheels, who has so much fucking raw strength, he's able to pump out planche push-ups. And on the other hand, we have guys who are genetically predispositioned to just jump into a planche at their second month. So it can be always vice versa. But for the average guys like probably you and me, it is much better, what I've seen from my 10-year experience, to get both up. When most people do the accessory work, and then some coach comes up to them and says, bro, you're not strong enough yet. Just keep adding more reps. 2 more sets. 2 more of fucking what? Dips. Wait, the dips. Fuck.
Planche.
This is fucking bullshit. And diabolically, clinically insane. That is a lie. You might be strong. Not doubting that. Doing hella weighted dips, you are strong. Not doubting that these guys are. But they haven't trained the actual skill themselves. Maybe they don't want it. Either way, you get the point. Now, am I saying that volume, intensity, all of that doesn't matter? Am I saying that you don't per se need to get stronger? Absolutely fucking not. The whole concept of this video is basically this. The way you fundamentally apply progressive overload towards skills is fundamentally different to the standard just get stronger mentality. Your nervous system learns what you practice. I have stated this one thing ever since I started making YouTube videos 2 years ago. Calisthenics skills is more practice than training. And that's not a lie. So to the extreme extent, as I mentioned already, if you practice being very good at a tuck planche or an advanced tuck planche, you will be very good at the tuck planche or the advanced tuck planche. If you practice progressively harder movements, even if you need assistance, even if it's only 3 seconds, you will progress better. When we're talking in generalities, the athletes who have succeeded in their skills, they spend way more time attempting the harder variations, even with assistance, than grinding the easier progressions endlessly. I'm stuck in the planche. I'm stuck with the tuck front lever. So the next time that you're feeling kind of stuck and you're thinking of, maybe I should do the progression or the variation a little bit longer. Maybe I should get better at the variation itself. Never, guys. And I mean fucking never fall into that trap. So the next time you're thinking of adding progressive overload to any of your skill variations, never fall into the trap of, I'm gonna hold it for longer. And I'm talking like longer, not like in the 5-second range, but in the 20-second range. Understand this massive take. Volume in an easier position or time in the target position are totally two different things. One keeps you comfortable and stuck, while the other is uncomfortable, but actually moves your goalpost forward. Hope you guys learned something from this video. I was for sure stuck in this fucking stage because I remember when I started to learn my front levers, I thought that being able to do the tucked front lever for 30 seconds will unlock me somehow the full front lever. Thank you for watching. Keep clarking your sons. See you very shortly.